Hello there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Okay, today we're going to talk about this is a continuation of the Yes Frequency series. So if you scroll back in the podcast, there's several episodes called Yes Frequency Marketing, Yes Frequency Selling, and Yes Frequency Delivering. This is Yes Frequency for you as an entrepreneur, the badass CEO, and your business. So it's more all encompassing. It's about the truth about quantum leaps. So if you're looking to quantum leap in your business this year, 2026, because we are shifting into second quarter now, but it's still early on in the year where so much can happen and so much can change. Where even if first quarter didn't go the way that you would hope, there is still plenty, and trust me, I've been there, plenty of time for a quantum leap for this year, 2026. So when we talk about making big leaps, and I don't just mean by, yes, helping more people, but not in a way that has you overworking, working more, crazy schedule, all that stuff. It's making a bigger impact, having more profitable take home revenue, whatever that means to you, or really living your purpose, fulfilling your purpose, if that's what your mission, your goal is, or a little bit of both. There is no shame in that as well. That is what we're talking about today, because here's the truth. And I'm going to say this, but I'm going to break it down because I believe in energetics. I believe in frequency. I believe in things that we cannot touch, like the kosha layers of yoga, like chakras, energetics, feelings and vibrations and intuition. I believe in all of that. I love my vision boards. I do it mostly Pinterest boards. Now, sometimes I use AI to help with that. The secret, belief in energy and expansion, the power of deciding something's possible before you have proof. And I want to say that manifestation alone will not provide that quantum leap. Manifestation alone will not build your business, because I know what it feels like to be sitting in a room journaling. I remember watching The Secret. I remember Tony reading one of Tony Robbins' first books, dare I say his name, Deepak Chopra, quantum healing, way back in the day when I started my business, bringing The Secret and that work into my business. And I remember just starting out and feeling like 20K months was like the gold standard. Everything in my world would be okay if I hit 20K months and I was at like 2 to 4K revenue months. This was years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And now I do well beyond that. But I remember sitting and feeling that in my body, which is why it's so important, why I always say why I do the manifest and move. I could feel that in my body. But then when I went down to like sit at my desk and do the work to bring in those 20K minds, I would either just get back into my same old pattern of what I was doing, or I would like kind of stare at the screen and be like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I like make this quantum leap happen? Like there was a huge gap for me, even though I believed in it fully. And that's what we're talking about today. I see this all the time with practitioners, especially those that are more on the energetics and spiritual side, or even if you don't do that work so much, but you believe in it in yourself. Maybe you've experienced beautiful moments of expansion for yourself. Maybe it's on a retreat. Maybe it's in a coaching program. Maybe it's 11 p.m. after the kids are finally asleep and you're scrolling and you see someone on Instagram that inspires you and you feel that. And you start to think and consider, wait, could that be me? It's the spark, that moment. That is real. It matters. But I know you might probably have experienced like I did. Then Monday comes and a reel didn't get views, or a workshop didn't get the signups that you wanted, or a DM you sent felt awkward, or a program isn't filling the way that you want. For a lot of practitioners, instead of saying, okay, what can I adjust? What can I refine? Instead, a spiral starts. There's a lot of taking it personally as a person and devaluing yourself or questioning your worth, or we are very much in a shame society. I think we get shamed all the time. And this is a whole other topic that I'll have a conversation about on the podcast. But, I work with one of my clients and she helps plus size individuals. just moves, just start moving. And there's so much shaming. I was part of, when I was finishing that certification so I could sit and take the boards, I had a conversation about how there's so much shaming in the health and wellness industry in Western medicine to people that are plus size, even though they may be completely healthy, how they're treated in airplanes, how they're treated in the doctor's office. And you'll start to hear stories of how people, when they were larger size and now they're smaller, how they're treated completely different. There's shame. I was shamed when I had cancer. Like, oh, epigenetics, you just need to dial down on your lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. Like, I caused this. Now, I'm not saying that we are going to remove all responsibility. Of course, there's things that I can change and evolve, right? There's parenting shaming about if our kid, I remember one flight, Kaylee, she was 9 months old, and I was flying by myself to Florida, where I usually go to see my family. And we got caught in I'm going to have to put, R related here, a shitstorm of events where our first flight was delayed. And then we finally made our connection and we were in our layover, and it was already a long layover of 3 hours. And then it was that next plane was delayed another 2 hours. So now we're on this 5 hour layover with a 9 month baby, and it was going into her bedtime. And so the second flight, I think it was like a 2 hour flight or close to it. She had a meltdown the whole entire flight. She was one of those kids crying the whole entire flight. And I could feel the shame from people like, she's just a terrible parent, or she's not giving that baby enough attention, or that baby, blah, 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 isn't blah, blah, blah. Or, if my daughter, she's very sensitive, right? iPad time, right? If we set a rule with her, negotiable, we're starting, I don't, for better or worse, starting to I gave her a phone, one of my old phones, and it has very limited capabilities. But if she brought that to a restaurant, and Sean and I decided with her ahead of time certain boundaries that she could, yes, be with the phone during some of the meal, but some of the meal she wasn't going to be with the phone, and we were going to play. We often bring Uno to the restaurant and play Unicorn or have conversations, that sort of thing. But if people didn't know that was our bargaining ahead of time, and we had boundaries and rules on it, and we were deciding this ahead of time, but if they saw her with her phone during a meal or before the food came, because it's not allowed during the meal, but before the food came, for example, they might have judgments and shame about that, right? So we feel this unconscious shame when we're growing our business, like, oh, okay, there's shame of maybe a colleague's judgment, or a shame of not filling a workshop, or a shame of not being the entrepreneur that we want to be, and then we take this very personally, and all of this takes us out of our yes frequency energy. It takes us out of our belief that really blocks the quantum leap. And here's what's actually happening: you're confusing a moment of belief with the work of becoming. So they're very different things. Believing in your goal, and then believing in the actual small, minute, really hard, sometimes challenging steps of the work of becoming. The moment of belief is the spark that starts your journey of working towards a certain goal, right? But the work of becoming, that's the fire. And you can't build a business alone with just the spark, right? We need the fire. So here's the reframe I want to offer you today. Quantum leap, it's not a moment, it's a momentum. It's not the one big dramatic decision that changes everything, although it could, right? The decision can be the spark that sets you down the path of igniting a fire. So then you're taking a series of small, sometimes boring, most of the time uncomfortable action steps and moves you make after that decision. And sometimes the belief isn't there during all of that, or we need resets in the belief. Again, why I do manifest and move, so we can stay connected to our goals, our intentions, our energetics. And part of that path is whether you choose to stay going forward through the discomfort, stay the course when it gets hard. And that's what I call belief backed by movement. The belief opens the door, right? The secret, the manifestation, that yes energy opens the door, and then you're going to walk through that door. So that belief and that energetics, it kind of envelops you all around you. but you still have to do some uncomfortable, hard at times action steps to get the quantum leap, to get the result that you want. And this is where it gets interesting because quantum leaps and action steps, they look different for each person, and they're sometimes different than what people think. From the outside, someone's breakthrough looks sudden, like she went from 3K months to 15K months overnight. Or Sharon, one of my clients, she literally went from 1,000 followers. She had a goal to hit 2,000 followers by the end of this year. She is already over 3,000 followers, and it happened just in 2 weeks, and most of it off of just a couple reels. So that can appear overnight, but no one saw her working with me for one complete round of 6 months of refining and tweaking and having hard moments and doubting things and coming back to it and trying again and going for it. And bam, then it happens. She posted when no one was watching. She refined her offers and tried her classes. She hosted series where that didn't fill the way that she wanted. She said follow up emails, even though sometimes pushed her into growth edge, but we always made sure they came back to the yes energy and alignment before she sent them. And she stayed in the room, even though there was times that maybe she wanted to stop and quit. That is what causes the quantum leap. It just, all of that, right? It's not an Instagram worthy highlight roll photograph in a perfect box. But here's what becomes possible when you pair belief, momentum, that spark, manifestation, abundance, the secret with some structure. You stop waiting to feel ready and start building evidence and proof that you're ready right now. Every small move creates evidence, and that evidence creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. And momentum, then that becomes the leap that becomes visible to everyone. But in those steps, right, there's some falters, there's some plateaus, there's some back steps, and you got to just rebuild the evidence, rebuild the belief, rebuild the yes energy and that confidence. So instead of interpreting a slow reel or a workshop not filled or a program not filled as a sign that something's wrong with you or that you don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur or that maybe you should quit, you start looking at as data. And data is just information that you can then use to refine and try again. That's all it is, right? I think I said this in previous podcasts when I went to Maria Went's event last year that it's just problems to solve, right? And as an entrepreneur, you want to fall in love with solving problems. That's why I love being an entrepreneur. I love solving my clients' problems. I love solving my problems. It keeps my brain going. It keeps me engaged with life, right? The hard things, and when I work through them, I feel now so much pride for myself. I feel so much appreciation and gratitude for everything that I have. I feel life to its fullest. I'm not just repeating the same old Groundhog Day every day. I'm actually engaged with the hardness, the realness, and the sweetness of it all because every day is not rainbows, daisies, and unicorns for every facet of life, whether it is parenting or relationships or your health, right? We all go through waves of wins and losses and plateaus. And we just have to keep looking at them as problems to solve, not making them mean something about our self-worth, right? Or start abandoning your vision or your goal after the glow or the initial excitement wears off. Because here's the thing most people don't realize the practitioner who create what looks like overnight breakthroughs are the ones who didn't disappear when it got unsexy. I'll say that again. The practitioners who create what looks like overnight breakthroughs are the ones who didn't disappear when it got unsexy, when it got uncomfortable, when it got hard. They kept going, they kept refining, they kept showing up. Again, not from hustle, but from the ability to metabolize, feel discomfort, and then metabolize it, dig deep, refine belief, refine evidence, and try again. And then one day they looked up and realized the life that they've been journaling about was actually the life they're living. Like I look from journals from like 6 and 7 years ago. I literally had consistent 20K months written down and my schedule written down and how I would be living my life with my daughter and my husband. And I tell you, some of the details are not quite fully there yet, but I would say 75, 80% of that I'm living now. And that blows my mind, really blows my mind. I'm taking at least 1 week off to fully reset, whether it's vacation with my family or conferences I go to or retreats I go to throughout the whole entire year, a week, a quarter at least. I'm going to a conference soon. I just came off spring break. And I am in love with my programs and my community. I love showing up to my business, my working hours. Yes, sometimes they're a little tight because I still do a lot of one-to-one calls, but I actually love working with my one-to-one clients. I love working with my group program. I love working from home. I am living this vision I set out to create years ago. Yes, it didn't happen quite as fast as I wanted. I definitely have experienced a lot of discomfort, but I'm doing it now. And that's available to you too. Not someday, not when you have more followers, not when you finally feel ready, but right now with your next small, best next step. Your smallest, ask yourself, what's one step I can take today towards that goal, which becomes your brave move? Okay, so here's some implementation strategies to help. Strategy 1, identify the move you already know you need to make. Not a list of 50 things, just your next smallest step. Maybe it's the offer that you have, but you haven't posted about. Maybe it's the workshop you've been thinking about, but haven't announced. Maybe it's writing that next email to your list or making the next Instagram story. Or maybe you need to add in an online program or change the structure of your business model or raise your price. Some of those are a little bit bigger, so you have to break it down to the next best step. But I guarantee you already know what it is. You're just hesitant to do it because it makes your stomach do a little nervous flip or it's uncomfortable. But that's the move, right? And that's why we have coaching to help you do the move. So decide what that one thing is this week. Not a whole strategy, not a perfect launch, not a launching of a brand new program and getting it all out and doing all the things. Just the next small, brave step. And then you're going to create a small is sacred evidence log. A small is sacred evidence log. And this one sounds simple, but it's so powerful. Every day, now I do journaling sometimes on paper, and sometimes as long as I can feel the shift in my body, I can also do this in my mind because now I've done the journaling enough times where I can feel the shift and get to the evidence without writing it down. So it doesn't have to take long. You don't have to spend hours journaling. I used to spend 5 to 10 minutes to do this a day until I was able to feel the shift myself without writing it down. Every day, write down one thing you did to move your business forward. One thing, even if it felt tiny, and some evidence on why you're the perfect person to teach what you do, how people in your audience are already there wanting to work with you right now. The people you have in your audience is enough. So maybe you're going to post, you can say, I posted a story, I sent an email, I had a conversation with someone out in public, I had a conversation with someone in the DMs, I had a consultation, I tried a different type of messaging, I showed up on video, even though it felt awkward. And then evidence that people in your audience aren't there. Maybe you're getting inquiries. Maybe you had someone hit reply to the email. Maybe you had someone reach out with a DM. Maybe you had a conversation with a complete stranger and they said, oh my God, like, I think I might need something like that. You're starting to feel interest. Or maybe for me, which was huge, again, I've said this, my Instagram has gone through periods of crickets years ago. And so just getting new people to like my post, that was a big deal. Or having one person comment the word, big deal. All evidence, though, they're progress markers. Because here's what happens. Your brain is, right? This is how we're wired. It's always looking for proof that this is working. And so the evidence log gives the proof. The progress markers show that you're making progress before the revenue or the impact does. And that gap between your first brave move and the first big result is exactly where most people quit. You don't want to quit in the gap, okay? So if you're thinking that you have to truly get in the right mindset before you take action, I want to be honest with you. Mindset work matters. You do want to feel the shift. Yes, energy, frequency, energy matters. I don't want to dismiss that. But sometimes if we're taking a brave action or a new action, it's going to feel uncomfortable. So you have to have the ability to have space in your body for the belief in your dream and feel and embody that dream, and the ability to feel the discomfort as well. And sometimes the discomfort is 90% and only that belief is only 10%, but it still works if you do it that way. But a lot of practitioners wait, especially if they're very intuitive and very energetics, is they want to feel that 100, that belief, that aligned feeling 100% of the time. And so then they quietly work on that in the background, but really they're just hiding because they're not taking the brave steps that feel uncomfortable. And I know I've been there too, right? I say this from experience, definitely not shame. I'm saying this to encourage you that you're not alone, and to give you an alternative so you're not just spinning your wheels. I spent time waiting to feel more ready, waiting to feel more aligned, waiting for the perfect moment. But what actually shifted for me was when I just, for example, I'll break it down for Instagram for me, when I just started showing up, posting something uncomfortable, getting data and feedback. Did it land? Did my audience comment? Did people message me? Did they comment the word or not? Right. And then not taking it personally and refining, getting coaching on it and trying again. Right. That action helped me to gather evidence and build my self trust through the doing, not just the thinking or the manifestation. Action can be part of your mindset tools, and it can be an underrated one. And okay, so if you're thinking, what if I try it and it doesn't work? Here's the truth. A lot of the times it's not going to work. And you're not going to know what actually works till you have a bunch of fails to gather the data to know what actually works. I can't tell you the amount of comments I get on my Instagram these days and how much people resonate with it, and they really love my posts. If you want to follow me, go follow Ignite Your Wellness with a UR business. I am going through a rebrand, so that name will be changing. So if you landed there, I will direct you to my new handle coming soon. So some people see that and they think it happened overnight, but it was a lot of failures. Even now, still, like I've never had a post like Sharon where it's brought in thousands of followers or hundreds of followers, or like my client Allie, who's now going to surpass me in her follower count. I've never had that happen yet, and I still work towards it. So we all have our dreams and our visions. But here's the thing, right? I didn't have to go viral. I don't have a massive email list, but I have a multiple six-figure business a year. And I'm helping a lot of people in a way that I love to help them. And they're getting results. And that's what truly matters for me. So the wobble doesn't mean it's not working. The wobble is the exact stretch. It's that gap before everything clicks. And you will feel a wobble in your yes energy, and your brain might tell you, okay, this isn't in alignment, but you have to remind yourself, you have to redirect it and say, no, this is part of the process. So let me be straight with you. Every month you spend waiting to feel more ready is a month of clients who needed you but they couldn't find you. Every month you spend, I'm working on my mindset, but you're not taking these small uncomfortable steps, is revenue that could be in your pocket, but it went somewhere else, because people, if they're really wanting help, they're going to find it. And every month you stay overworking, or your kids see you stressed, exhausted, and unavailable, are moments that you're missing, or potential opportunities to change generational patterns. And it's hard. Oh my goodness. Parenting is tough. I'm in it right now with my 10 and a half. She is super strong willed. And I see some of the words that come out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just sounded like my mother. And I thought like that was my whole thing. I was going to parent in a whole totally different way. Right. So it comes up in all these different ways. So if this episode, oh my goodness, if this episode hit for you, I want you to do one thing, one small step that feels uncomfortable. Write it down and be proud of yourself for doing it. Not 10 things, just one. Identify the brave move you've been avoiding, the one your gut already knows, and take it this week. And message me and let me know how it goes, because I know you can do it. And you'll feel so proud of yourself for doing it. And it's going to lead to more steps like that lead to your quantum leap. And of course, if you want my help with this, you can come to our monthly Manifest and Move. It's a drop in virtual class, somatics, embodiment, yoga, and yes, manifestation. And, or of course, you can work with me one to one or in the 100K online practice blueprint. Okay, that's what I have for you this week. I will see you next week. Bye for now. This episode is brought to you by Jane, a practice management software and EMR designed for wellness practitioners who value structure, simplicity, and calm growth. If you're a skilled wellness practitioner who's tired of tech overwhelm and administrative chaos, Jane understands. Your expertise should be focused on client transformation, not wrestling with software. Jane provides the structure and systems you need to run a sustainable practice. With Jane's streamlined online booking, your clients can easily schedule at times that work for them. With smart features like waitlist notifications, those last minute cancellations become opportunities, not losses. It's a simple way to maintain consistent revenue without the constant hustle of filling your calendar. During sessions, Jane's AI powered documentation helps you capture important notes, efficiently allowing you to stay present and focused on delivering exceptional care. After appointments, you can end on a healing note rather than a transactional one by charging cards on file and handling rebooking before the client leaves, creating the organized, professional experience your business deserves. To discover how Jane can help you build a more structured, scalable wellness practice that works even when you're offline resting, use the link in the show notes. And especially for you, Ignite Your Wellness business listeners, when you're ready to implement the simple system that supports your growth, use code IGNITE1MO. So that's IGNITE1MO to get your first month complimentary. That code will also be in the show notes.